You know, one of the things that I heard, and I love talking to people, and I love talking to people that have very strong perspectives for what I'm for, against what I'm for. I love it because I'm a competitive learner. And one of the things that is really interesting is that I can listen to somebody that I disagree with strongly and still pull something that's really, really valuable. And so one of the things that I heard recently is, why are you trying to shove this DEI stuff down everyone's throat? And I was like, man, that sounds aggressive and painful, right? You ought to call 911, on that. But the reality is that person's feeling that they're being inundated with something that they didn't ask for. And that feeling is real. So I want to acknowledge that. And I also want to acknowledge that oftentimes too much information, too much change too soon can hurt progress. Let me give you an example. When you're learning a new language, for example, or you're learning a new skill or a new dance step, it's going to look awkward when you're trying it at first. So if someone is an expert teacher, they're going to give you something that you can learn and practice on your own by yourself that's very simple and very small, so that you can get confident in that area, and then they'll layer new knowledge on top of that. We have so many different terms. We have so many different pronouns. We have so many different things that people are being asked to learn, understand, not offend, that I do understand the perspective of that it could be too much too soon. So what I say to that is this: let's humanize this moment and think about you as an individual and the things you can agree with versus all of the things in the universe, right, around diversity, equity, inclusion. Let's start with safety in the workplace. When people go to work, do they have the opportunity? Do you feel like they should feel safe? Most people would say yes. Most of us would think about physical safety, but a lot of times people endure, right, a lot of verbal things that make them uncomfortable and set them back. And so we want to create an environment where business leaders and people leaders are using inclusive language so that people are not being triggered, right, at work based on who they are. Another example that I would give you in terms of something very, very simple is, do you believe in equal pay, right, for equal work? Most people I talk to, the answer to that is yes. So then it makes sense to audit your pay structure and make sure you don't have an imbalance of compensation between men and women, right, based on who hired them, who their manager is when they came into the company. It's a simple business decision as to whether or not you believe in equal pay for the same work. If you're thinking about growing your business and you're thinking about recruiting, rewarding, and retaining the best people, do you think it makes sense to have some uniform standards of what excellence looks like in your business so that everyone can target the same set of requirements versus someone's promoted because they play golf with Carl. Another person is promoted because they go to the same church as Judy. What we're talking about is creating an emphasis on employee success. And we have to define that in terms that most thoughtful people can understand. And so I do agree that we can get a little overboard with DEI acronyms that we expect everybody to understand and learn at the flip of a switch. I can concede that point and be fine with it. And then I'd like you to come and meet me in the middle a little bit, or at least a little bit of the way, to understand that what we're trying to do in the marketplace is create a safe place to work for everyone, create a place at work where promotions and opportunity and mentorship and compensation are done based on performance. If we can talk in terms of things that we agree, we can have a productive dialogue. And the narrative out there, the Fox News narrative, this woke culture, right? Race wars, right? All of this stuff that is meant to rile us up and be against one another. Think about this. Think about if somebody that was negative towards DEI or all this woke stuff instead said, there's a war on employee engagement. You'd be like, what? There's a war on employee productivity. The war on equal pay. You'd be like, man, that dude needs some special attention. So a lot of times the nomenclature, because we're not talking from a point of mutual understanding, confuses the fundamental things we're trying to get done, which is to help everyone win at work.